Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today I'm in the sanctuary. I got to give a shout out to 517living.com, making sure we all know what's going on in Lansing and boosting the signal of everybody. I really love the work that Sarah and her team are doing. I also would be remiss not to give a shout out to Raven Norris, who I know was on the show last week, and you guys are probably getting a little tired of me talking about her, but she does start her new job as in genetics in a lab at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles today. So she is about 3 hours into her first day of her professional career. So congratulations, Raven. We love you. We miss you already, and can't wait to see where that career goes to. And again, one more time, thisent.com with all the work that you're doing. Happy second anniversary. I think it was today or yesterday or something like that. And so thanks for doing the work that you're doing and keeping the positive stories in front. And today, my guest, John J. Thomas, I like that you got two first names or two, is it a middle name? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah. It's I actually generally go by JJ, but John J. Thomas sounds a little bit more professional. So
as soon as you said JJ, I don't know how well you know Lansing, but there used to be a house off from Kavanaugh that said JJ lived here.
Oh,
and
really?
It was like a landmark. I would meet people across the street from the house just because so many people knew it.
That's funny. I didn't live there. I mean, just to clear up any confusion.
That was going to be my follow-up question. So, who do you want to shout out?
I'd like to actually shout out just in the other room over here, my fiance, Brooke. She has definitely sacrificed a lot of time with me and a lot of energy to allow me to pursue my dreams and everything. So I appreciate her, and my business partner, Trevor Pline, too. He's helped out with a lot of stuff as well. And I would not be in this spot on this podcast right now without them.
That's awesome. So did you guys set a date yet? Or is it still?
Not officially. We're looking at probably early fall next year, 2022. So
nice. I had my 23rd anniversary yesterday.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
So good luck to you guys, and I hope that everything works out for you that way.
Thank you. Maybe we'll be able to be on another podcast when I hit my 23-year anniversary. We'll see.
I hope to still be alive.
Me too.
So let's get into you a little bit. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school? I like to say, what's your deal, man?
All right. What is my deal? No. Let's see. So I was actually born in Lansing at Sparrow. So, always been around the mid-Michigan area. I lived in Jackson up until I was like 2 years old. I remember none of it at all. Then my folks moved up to out by Perry, which is just a little east of Lansing out there. I went to Perry schools my entire life, really, elementary all the way through high school, graduated high school, and then went off to Michigan State University, got a bachelor's degree in 2016, studied communication, and I am wrapping up my master's degree now in strategic communication, also from Michigan State.
Oh, that is awesome. So, let's start with Perry for a second. Do they only have one elementary, one middle school, one high school, or are there multiple?
Yeah, I don't know how they do it now. So there's another town out by there that was called Shasburg. It is still called Shasburg, but there was Shasburg Elementary and Perry Elementary, and then in middle school, they both went to Perry Middle School is where they ended up going. I think now it's like all called Perry, but one's east and one's west. I don't know for sure if that's accurate, so don't quote me on that. But at that point, there's just one middle school and one high school that we all went to.
All right. I've had a few guests on from Perry, but in particular, the esports coach stands out. And I just thought, man, this is kind of amazing, this school, because growing up in Lansing, going to all Lansing schools, graduating from Lansing Eastern, you think Perry are all the lucky kids that get snow days all the time.
We did have quite a few snow days. That's actually true.
Yeah. So, you're still working, you're still going to school.
Yes. Yeah. So after graduating, I continued to work in the public sector. And I decided what I think January of 2020 is when I started my master's program. I decided to go back and learn as much as I could about marketing and branding and business, everything I could really. I love learning. So I decided that maybe going back for my master's is a good idea. And, I guess if we can continue on the line of shout outs, I guess the people in that program, Jason, Dawn, Jennifer, the three people, Folletta, all the people who really kind of run it, just incredible people. And I can't say enough good things about them, especially Jason sitting down, taking an hour and a half to talk to me before I even decided to apply to the program, and then giving me a ride back to work because we were like a mile and a half away or so after meeting because it was cold out. So, I mean, he's a good guy, a great guy.
Kudos to Jason then, right?
Yes.
So one thing about, you said you had a communications degree and you are now doing strategic communications.
Yes.
And, I've never asked anybody what that really means.
Yeah.
I have a vision. One of my favorite books is called The Grammatical Man, and it talks about how information flows and how we double check it, and it gets into cryptology and all this other things. So I have a vision of that's what it's something like.
Yeah.
But I bet I'm really wrong. So I'm going to ask you this question today. What is a communications degree? What do you study?
It really encompasses a lot of things. And a lot of people who graduated, at least from Michigan State, would specialize in something. I know that they got master's program in just communication. They have it in health communication, strategic communication. I would liken it more to like digital marketing kind of thing. That's how I always generally explain it to people. I'm specializing in, I think, organizational leadership communication through that degree right now. Trying to get to the C-suite or, the CMO, the chief marketing officer or something, right? So that's the route I took. But I mean, there's so many different things, but really I would say communicators in general. And man, if there's a communicator watching this, they're going to be in the comments typing like, no, you're wrong. It's this. I would really say it's probably just finding a way to connect the source to the receiver, right? With the Fledge, maybe your role even could be as a communicator, trying to connect your mission to the constituents and to the people that you're trying to reach out to and engage with. Or if it's a business, that marketer, that communicator, whatever it may be, is really trying to connect with the audience, interact with the customers, trying to build that bridge and add value. Or at least they should be trying to add value.
Yeah. So thinking about that and what you said, you started in January 2020. The pandemic really reared its ugly head in March, so it was coming at us a lot quicker or a lot more before that. A couple of things. One, did that make your master's degree a little bit easier for you because it became more remote, or did it make it more difficult for you and you feel ripped off? And nothing against any school, by the way,
No.
because everybody, that's homogenous across all the schools.
Right. Yeah. So actually, I guess something I should have mentioned is this master's degree is 100% online. So there wasn't any in-person exams, any in-person classes or anything. So it did make it a little easier because MSU across the board kind of changed the grading structure since everybody was sent home or had their jobs, they lost their jobs, or maybe they were taking care of kids at home now, everything just kind of went up in the air for a few months for sure. So it really didn't change a lot for me, but I do know that some of my classmates in particular, it really did affect, maybe they, sometimes, well, if there's no money, then maybe you can't market and you got to cut some funds. I wouldn't fully agree with that, a company's decision to do that, but some of them lost their jobs. Some of them had to drop out or couldn't continue on with classes. Some of them, their kids weren't in school and now they had to take on that role. So they had to try to balance that. So it made my life a little easier, I would say. I didn't have my commute into work anymore. I was working from home. So that, saved about 40 minutes of driving each way. But so for me, it made it easier, but I know for a lot of people, it definitely made it harder.
Do you still live in Perry?
No, so I'm actually out in Westphalia now. So I made grand old trek from Perry all the way up to Westphalia, I'm not that. I've always kind of been around the Lansing area.
PW.
PW, that's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. I think you might actually be the first person, and this is not a dig on Westphalia. I love it out here. But usually when people ask, where do you live? I'm like, Westphalia. They're like, where's that? Or, where's your fiance from? Oh, Puamo. What's a Puamo? So it's, so you're the first person who's actually known that.
Oh, well, I'm sure other people do, but maybe, yeah.
Or
Well,
maybe
thank
they
you
just
for
want
that.
to pick on me for it. I don't know. It's possible.
I sort of want to pick on you for it, but I'm not
Feel
gonna.
free. Go for it.
And then the other question regarding the pandemic,
Hmm.
how, as an expert in communication, which I already know you are because you already talked about the sender and the receiver, which is what most people forget that there's two sides to it.
Yeah.
Um, what changed the most because of the pandemic in how we communicate? And actually, would you mind defining communicate? Because that's probably also a strange word that people have different definitions for.
Yeah, no, that's it. Everything you're asking me, I'm just going to get a bunch of people in the comments tearing me apart, telling me I'm wrong. No,
Let's
that's
go at
fine.
them, man. I'll go back at them with you, though. We'll tell
No,
them why
oh
they're
man.
wrong.
Let's see. So I guess communication, I really do think would be a very textbook kind of definition. And I hope I make my professors happy right here. Would really be just the flow of information from one source to another. That source could be multiple, or the other, from single source to a bunch of other people could be the other source, but I think that would be the very textbook definition. How it impacted the way we engaged. Well, there's definitely a lot more digital communication, definitely not in person nearly as much. We all had email, we all had text, we all had phone calls and everything. We all had Skype and Zoom and whatnot, but it definitely took off during the pandemic because everyone was working from home. People weren't going out. Everyone was locked down. So that definitely changed it. And I think it made it a lot harder because with email, with text, with a phone call, even, people don't realize how much we actually read faces or read lips or look at facial expressions. Or even me, I talk with my hands like crazy. I could say the same sentence and if you can't see my face, you might interpret it completely differently than if you saw me on camera here, right? Because you are receiving so much information just from the way I'm looking, or if it's on email or text, it's even worse because then you don't even have inflection in the voice, right? And I could say, we could be joking around and be like, oh, Jerry, shut up, like as a joke, right? You see it here and it makes perfect sense. But if I just said, oh, Jerry, shut up over text, you might be like, oh crap, maybe he didn't get the joke, So I think that's a big way that it changed it.
That's so funny that you said that because just 2 or 3 days ago, I started every time I use Siri for voice recognition and I'm talking about my wife and she's with me. I say it really mean to see how she reacts, though I know it's going to type out in a more kind way.
Yeah.
Just so I totally get that for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that though is going to make us better at digital communication now that we're going to be thinking about these things and putting that? I mean, I imagine you're talking a lot about inbound marketing and funnels and all this stuff. I don't want to turn it all into that, but all the communication part into marketing. But do you think marketing is going to get better because of COVID?
I sure hope so. And something else that, I did want to touch on is that I think a lot of the pageantry, the best way I ever heard it was that all the pageantry during COVID was just stripped away and it was pure value, pure context and everything that was added. All the late night shows, they weren't in the big fancy studios. They didn't have the bands. They didn't have all this. They were, filming in their own rooms or something. They were in a little corner of their house, still trying to provide the comedy or whatever that they do. Right. So we saw a lot of that and a lot of brands just kind of, especially at the beginning, trying to be a little bit more authentic and not so, I think it was Chevy. I think it was Chevy that had all these commercials instead of being like, look at our truck, 2022 truck coming out next fall. It was more like, hey, you know what? we're here for you guys. And if you need a break, go for a drive in your car, just play your favorite music, go talk to, just get out of your house, drive around. You don't have to go anywhere. Just, try to stay sane. We're all in this together. So I think that definitely helped out. I hope it changes marketing. I will not make predictions about, 5 years from now, there will be no more lies in marketing. There'll be no more, manipulation and everything. But I sure hope that it definitely, especially with the younger entrepreneurs and the newer small businesses and everything, that it will definitely try to create a little bit more ethical marketing, I would say. That's what I'm hoping for.
You are talking my language right now. So I got a bunch of questions before we get to your bigger projects.
Absolutely.
The first thing is feedback loops. That's very important in marketing.
Yes.
If you say something to me and I'm like, right?
Yeah.
But they've been harmed a little bit, right?
Yes.
But so can you just talk about that, or you want me to ask you a question about that?
Yeah, I can talk about it. If I don't touch on what exactly you want to hear, feel free to interject at any point.
I'm not a predatory algorithm, so I'm not expecting anything from you.
Oh, I got a funny story about that. It's a terrifying story about algorithms, but it is
well,
funny.
That's going to be my second question.
Okay, excellent. No, that's I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, feedback loops are important, and it's one of the biggest struggles I think as that marketers face, because we hear all the time, well, this study or this poll, not even a study, but a poll or survey of these people found this, right? Customers want insert whatever it may be here, right? And then a business tries to follow that. Well, maybe it didn't work. And why is that? Where did we go wrong? And the question is, people aren't always exactly honest in surveys, unfortunately, right? I wish we could all be honest, and there's a range of reasons for that. maybe your survey was bad. That's a big qualm that I have, that a lot of surveys I read, I'm like, you just asked 3 questions there and only allowed for 1 answer. What am I supposed to say? Or like, what if I kind of agree, but don't fully agree? So there's that. People don't necessarily want to be honest in a survey all the time. They're afraid of, are they going to bother me? And are they going to start sending me messages? Is this going to be linked back to me in some way? How do I know this is anonymous? That'll be a part of it. But there is definitely a bit of an issue with feedback loops kind of halting a little bit, because, well, people didn't buy as much. They bought a bunch of home office stuff, but a lot of restaurants and everything, they weren't able to see if they introduced a new dish, but people were ordering takeout instead of sitting in the restaurant. Well, they couldn't see the reaction, right? Yeah. And then when you get reviews on Google, it's people who absolutely loved it or absolutely hated it. You didn't get, 1 star or 5 star kind of thing. You didn't get the 2, 3, 4. And whereas if, your servers are asking, how is this? Maybe in person right there, they might be like, oh, you know what? This is actually, this is really good, but I think it could be a little bit better with this, right? And then, hey, report that back to the chef. You can constantly improve on that. I think the best way to combat that is really to build connections with your audience, right? And I think that's a place that a lot of businesses go wrong, especially small businesses. And I understand it, because it takes time and it takes effort, and small businesses are already overloaded on time and effort. They're giving 110% when they can only give 100%, So that's where I come in, by the way. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. But
we're going to get to that.
We will get to that, yes. But, I think that just if you build up a level of trust with your customers, right? If let's say you have an email listserv or something, right? And you have that level of trust, and you have that community that you built on Instagram or on TikTok or wherever, and you just say, hey, I'm thinking about this idea. What are your thoughts? People will respond. If you got that connection, you're not just going to get the 1 and the 5 stars because people either loved it or hated it. They feel like they give you some input, that they have some value in your life too. They'll give you that feedback, and that can really help you build your business or build your foundation or your charity or whatever it may be, but also add value to their lives. And that's ultimately the goal, right? You can sell, are we allowed to swear or no?
Yes.
Okay. You can sell all the shit in the world, but if you don't have that long-term relationship with your customer, they might just buy once and then they'll go somewhere else. But if you build that relationship, you'll be a successful charity or business or anything in the long run. And that all comes down to adding value.
Yeah. So real quick on the side, I didn't think that to tell you that we can swear because I assumed you were just going to start swearing right from the beginning.
Did I swear during warm up? I might have. I don't know. I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, but we don't advertise as kid friendly, but some kids
Okay.
do watch, and they're really mature, progressive type kids. So
Okay.
they probably, well, you know what? If South Park taught me anything, it brought me back to when I was in fourth or third grade, and we swore all the time.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
swearing's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Part of our
Okay.
language.
Good. Good.
Um, so that's kind of an epiphany to me about how. Oh, let me start with one thing. I have a degree in mathematics, focusing on statistics, data science, and computer science.
Okay.
So thinking about this bimodal distribution that's happened, you must have a background in that too because of the digital marketing stuff. But you got a bunch of yeses, you got a bunch of nos, and there's no continuum there. But
Right.
most things in life are a continuum or a spectrum,
Right.
and that bimodalness is very interesting. I want to study that more, so I've definitely taken a note about that.
Yeah, and
Uh,
you definitely have a way stronger understanding of that than I do because I did not study mathematics or statistics beyond here's how to conduct a survey for our purposes here. Here's how
yeah,
to analyze the data for our purposes as marketers instead of you have a if my mind is like here, you have like the whole
I,
encompassing idea of everything that
I,
I
I,
do not
I will
have.
bet you $1 million that together we both know more than I do or you do alone.
I would
I
take
can
you up on
bet.
that bet.
You would?
I would. I
Nah,
mean, well,
you.
I'd agree with you on that is what I mean. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'll sign on. Not, yeah, not, I know more than both of us combined. No, yeah, I no, 100% agree with you is what I meant.
Diversity, man, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Um, so, what do you think that? How did that affect people, though? Do you think that caused some of the divisiveness that we have? That people didn't play in that continuum as much?
You mean, can you define what exact area you're talking about with divisiveness? And I'm only saying that
Here,
just to make sure that we
here.
are, because there's a ton of divisiveness out there right now.
I'll
A
just start with Matt's
ton.
question. How many fights start over text? He,
Exactly.
he posted that during our conversation about shut up, Jerry, or I don't know. You told me to shut up, right?
Right. Yeah. No, and Matt is 100% right. And I mean, I think we all know it, right? We all know, if you're going to break up somebody, don't do it over text, right? Like there's a way you should do this, because, or if you're going to have a serious conversation with somebody, you should really do it in person. If you're going to announce an engagement, maybe I shouldn't have just texted my entire family. Maybe I should have actually went to go see them instead of just sending a picture, right? Even I do it, but it's something that we all know, but in the moment we don't think about it. We got a billion things going on in our life and we're just, sending away messages because that's how we interact with each other now. Um, but yeah, I think it's something that I mess up too. Everybody messes up. It's something that we learn from, and then hopefully we do better the next time. But Matt is 100% correct. How many texts start over fight, or how many fights start over text? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that I'm setting myself up to start a fight over a text I sent that's not even going to my wife yet because of the way I'm trying to. I don't know why I try to do this. This will get. This will be part of the answer later when you ask the question for tomorrow's guest.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the
Actually.
stupidest thing I've ever done? Let me throw another comment. Joe Walker, who is thisent.com, he just wants to know, has anybody
Oh
told you
no.
that before?
No, and my fiance and her family tell me that I either look like Steve Carell from The Office, which I'll take as long as it's not season 1 Steve Carell from The Office. If it's like season 2 onward, we're good. With my license photo, I've been told I look like Bradley Cooper, which, hey, I'll take that any day. He's way better looking than I am, but anything I can do to help somebody think I look better than I do, hey, I'll take it. Tim Tebow's a new one. I have nothing against Tim Tebow, but I'm just going to say I hope my career lasts a little bit longer than his did. That's just my dig on him. But no, I have not received that, but I appreciate that. If it was meant as a compliment, I appreciate it. And if not, there's worse people I could be compared to, so I'll take it.
You'd be a hero in Guam, Westphalia if you were like
Yeah.
Tim Tebow, right?
Yeah, except for I think literally every person out here is better at football than I am. So I
Yeah.
don't.
State champs, right? I think this last year,
Yeah,
in either basketball or football, or way up there, way up there.
I don't know what it is in the water out here, but they are pros at the sports. I mean, they really are. I know a couple years ago, whenever they had the last state championship at Ford Field, that people could go
Yeah,
to, I believe PW won that. I was there.
yeah,
But, I don't know. I hear about things that happened a year ago. And I'm like, holy crap, that was already a year ago. I forgot all about that. So maybe I'm remembering incorrectly.
yeah. It could have been like 30 years ago for me, and I don't. It's all blending together. Um, Trust. You said the word trust.
Yes.
Let's talk about that,
Yeah, let's talk
if
about
you don't
trust.
mind. And this show's going really long, by the way, because I love what we're still on the you part. We haven't got to the year
Yeah.
project,
Hey, I am
um,
available as long as you want to talk.
but I'm digging this a lot. So, trust. What is? Tell us. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Oh man, that is there's a lot to go in with trust, right? I mean, we could go on forever about trust. You want to talk about trust, you know, I think it depends. I think man, there's so many things I want to say and everything's coming to my mind at the same time. And now it's like short circuiting a little bit.
Pick one.
Um, let's see. Okay. So let's talk about, you know, influencers, right? I despise that word, but it's what we all go by. Jerry, you are an influencer. You have a podcast and people listen to you and people trust you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be listening to you, right? Or they all hate you a lot. And that's why they're listening to you, just to pick on you in the comments. But I don't think that's why. I've read the comments on your posts and whatnot. And people love you. But they trust you to give them good information, that if you shout out somebody or you ask a question, that you're going to ask it because you genuinely want to know and you genuinely want a good answer out of it. You're not asking it to be mean. You're not going to promote a brand or a company or a foundation or anybody. With all of your shout outs, they trust you that you're giving them good information, right? And that they think, hey, maybe I will check out this company, because Jerry wouldn't lie to us. He wouldn't just sell whatever to us just to do that. And I was talking about selling, you know.
Jesus, that's a lot of pressure, man. You just screwed my whole next week.
Oh, this is the last podcast of every damn day. Jerry's like, I quit. Like, I'm going on stress leave. I'm out. I'm done. I'm
If I was
sorry.
going to go on stress leave, it would have been about 6 months ago. That's for them too.
But
No,
I
that's
mean, you think about it with like, and with like alternative news sources, right? Not even corporate, like, ABC, NBC, CBS news sources, right? But there's a bunch of news sources on YouTube, across the entirety of the political spectrum. Some are open about their biases. Some are open about their biases, but try really hard to be, like, here's trying to be as factual as they can, right? People listen and choose those sources because, well, some people do because it confirms their biases already, but other people trust them, right? They're like, a show that I think of that comes to mind a lot right now is, it used to be called The Rising. It was on the Hills YouTube channels with Sagar, Injeti, and Crystal Ball, right? One Crystal Ball was very open that she was on the left. Sagar was very open that he was on the right, and they would try really hard to present the news in a way that both sides could get their stories out, and they would try to find the common ground. They've since went independent, and it's called Breaking Points now. But if you look at their comments, people really trust them. Most of their comments are people talking about, man, I really appreciate the work that you're doing here, that, you're trying to bridge this gap that we have in the country right now between the right and the left, that they're really trying to do something. So they go to them for the news, or as a source of their news, because they actually trust them and they want to get information that from a source that they trust. They wouldn't go to a source that they don't trust, right?
yeah. So I've always talked, my whole career, I've talked about an economy of labor that was many years ago, and actually when we used slavery, and that's why slavery was so important to the economy,
Mm-hmm.
but also, how this country was built is not something that, not saying we shouldn't be proud of our country, we shouldn't be proud of how our country got here, not trying to get
Yeah, I
political,
mean,
but
you can acknowledge the good and the bad at the same time.
yeah. So an economy of labor, and then it became an economy of capital when we started, having the assembly line
Hmm.
and started manufacturing in more mass.
Yeah.
And then later on, it became an economy of information, like when the
Hmm.
internet started taking off and all of that. But always below that was an economy of relationships. And
Yeah.
what I really mean by that, that I haven't figured out until the last several years, is that that's an economy of trust, right?
Yeah. I have
And
never heard it phrased that way, but I 100% agree with that statement.
trust is the only thing that's ever mattered,
Yeah. Well,
right?
think about it. You can love you've been married for 23 years, and one day, 23 years and one day now, like you said, but, you could love somebody a whole lot, but if you don't trust them, you're probably not going to be with them. You have love for your spouse, but you also have trust in them too.
Ride or die, baby. My girl will fuck you up. So
Oh man.
I'm just adding a little swear words to
No, that's all right.
flavor it
It's
up.
yeah. Now I feel
Oh,
like it's balanced. I swore, now you swore, so now we're even.
oh well, we'll try to keep it even then. But I actually took a class. I was involved in a workshop, and I wish
Hmm.
I could remember the guy's name because it was fascinating. And there's like 7 pillars of trust, and the one that I use every single day is I trust first. So when I want to meet somebody where they are, I trust them. They can come in. They can use the back. You don't. I don't know how much you know about the Pledge, but we're radically inclusive. So
Hmm.
we deal with a lot. We deal with violence. We deal with substance use. We deal with desperation. We deal with depression and suicide. And the one thing that is the most effective thing that I've ever done is trusting somebody before they trust me,
Yeah. Well,
and it
and
just
you
makes all the difference.
and you set up that whole culture there too, of like, hey, this is an open space. I trust you. I trust that you're coming from a good place, whatever your opinion or whatever your actions may be, that I trust that you're being honest with me. I trust that, you're not going to hurt me. I trust that, all of these things.
I'm pretty sure when they were a baby, they did not want to be homeless or, well, you know what I should, I'm messing up my words. I'm going to correct myself. I'm sorry to anybody that does work in that space. It's the unhoused. Nobody wanted to be unhoused or not safe or whatever. They might want to be unhoused. Some people
Hmm.
love working or living on the streets. Um, but they probably didn't want to be depressed. They probably didn't want to be violent. They probably didn't want to be addicted to a substance and all
Right.
of these things. And I just try to always see that kid that
Yeah.
grew up in Perry, that was born in Lansing, lived in Jackson, and grew up in Perry at one of
Yeah.
the confusing schools out of none.
No, and you're right. I think that there's definitely a little bit of humanity in everybody, right? I mean,
Yeah,
so trying to see that, I think that will help find a lot of common ground. And I think it's why the Fledge is and will be successful, is because you are approaching it from that open and honest and trusting, and that whole basis. I really do, as cheesy as it sounds, I really do believe that that's ultimately what people see and that's what they want, and
yeah.
I think that's why you'll be successful in your mission.
Well, there's a compliment there, and I thank you for that. But we'll get back to you now. Tell us
Okay.
about
All
your
right.
projects.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll touch the big one. The reason that I'm here is actually for John J. Thomas Consulting. I started up a marketing consulting business that specifically is trying to help small to medium sized businesses, solo entrepreneurs, and startups. Right. Um, I am it's ironic that I'm the marketer who can't stand marketers or marketing. There's a lot of good people. I'm being a little
I
facetious there,
I
but
think me and the crowd get exactly what you're saying.
you know, I um, I have been increasingly frustrated, especially working with the small businesses that I do. So, okay, the reason I started the consulting is because in 2016, when I graduated from MSU, I wanted to find a way to help small businesses, and I could not find a way to be a marketing agency that provided the best service I possibly could, and honestly make a living to actually live, but also not work 100 hours a week just to try to break even for everybody and provide the service that I could. It took me until 2021 in January where I actually realized that a lot of these businesses are already handling their social media. They're already handling their website. They're already handling their print ads that they're sending out, or TV ads, or social ads, or Google ads, or whatever it may be. They're already handling it on their own. But talking with them, they're like, I have no clue what to do. Like, I read an article once that said do this, and I'm just kind of doing that now, but I don't know. So it kind of hit me that, oh, they don't need people to do this for them. They can handle it. They just need help on knowing what to do and how to maximize their time and maximize the money and maximize the effort, right? So that's why I decided, well, I could do consulting for people and bring down the prices quite a bit. I mean, I've worked with small businesses who are paying $1,000 or more for truly just one service that wasn't all encompassing, and it was shit. It really was. I was like, well, you need to stop paying them. Whatever it is, like, you find somebody else, anything else, even if it's not me, find something else, because they're stealing your money right now. So that's why I started this, is because I think that a lot of marketing agencies, and not all of them, there are some good marketing agencies, are providing a lot of small businesses with subpar services at a premium price. And I think that they treat them as filler. They all want the big contracts, but to pad the bottom line, get the small businesses and, just charge them extra money, put up a website, and then just kind of do nothing for them again.
Do you think that people understand what marketing even means? Because there's a clear distinction between marketing and advertisement.
Yeah.
Or at least I think it's clear. Is it clear?
I think it is. I think people, well, maybe it's not clear, because I don't even know if marketers fully agree on what marketing is versus branding versus advertising and everything, right? Like I said, it's going to keep
branding's different than marketing?
Kind of, but kind of not, but that's it. It depends on who you ask, really. I think that I would say marketing covers, like, branding, I think, kind of falls under marketing. I think advertisements kind of fall under marketing. I think producing content on your Instagram or TikTok, or even if it's a blog or YouTube channel or podcast, I think that all kind of falls under marketing in a way. And maybe some people disagree with me on that. And if anybody does that's listening, I mean, please feel free to throw that in a comment. I'd love to hear an opposite viewpoint on that.
There's definitely a fuzzy intersection there, right?
It is.
I hope that's not the white power sign or anything I'm screwing up.
But
what I mean is a Venn diagram,
sign, right?
Yeah.
But no, and that's kind of it. I would say advertising is, well, an advertisement, paying to get yourself or your product or your brand or whatever it is out in front of an audience, right? Mm-hmm. That's advertising, trying to sell a product, really, or sell yourself. But that sounds way worse than what I mean that to sound. Mean, like, yeah. But anyways, branding is maybe just trying to get people to be aware of you or your business, right? That, hey, I'm putting out, I'm going to pay for a Facebook advertisement that is strictly just telling people what the Fledge is, right? Just telling them, hey, we're this radically inclusive organization in Lansing, Michigan. Here's our address. Come check us out sometime, or follow our Facebook page, or sign up for our email list so that you can, keep up to date with what we're doing. And we'd love to meet you sometime, right? And marketing, I think, kind of just is an umbrella term that usually covers all of that. Yeah. I think that's the best way I could describe it. And again, if anybody disagrees, I'm more than happy to talk about it, because, hey, I'm all for having my opinion changed on stuff too.
Well, Don had made a comment earlier, content versus context is the challenge with digital messaging. And Don's a badass, so he's going to keep up with us here for a second. And he said all of those topics fall under marketing as well as product management, right? And that question, man, I don't know if I want to go quite on this tangent yet. I'm going to go on this tangent right now.
Okay.
Predatory marketing.
Yeah.
Here's what we do. Here's what we say we do. There's a huge fucking gap because we hired someone to make our PR better or whatever. Yes. That's one thing that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. The second thing I'm talking about is I search on Google for payday loans and find whatever, click on a couple things. Then I come back to Facebook and all of a sudden University of Phoenix is right there with you
Yeah.
can improve your cash flow immediately by taking out this huge loan and get a degree, and that's super predatory.
Yeah, and so I agree with that. I think that there's a lot of predatory marketing, and so there is something, especially with Facebook. We'll stick with them. It's called a pixel, and it's kind of like a cookie on websites. Those banners that pop up say, "Hey, we use cookies," and that's kind of how they remember if you visit their website again. What was in your cart, all these things like that, or have some information on you. Some of that is used definitely in predatory ways, and some of it isn't. So with Facebook, like let's say somebody visited the Fledge's website, right? If you had a Facebook pixel that you installed on your website, if somebody went, was logged into Facebook, they would see, oh, they were on the Fledge's website, and then they might show an advertisement of the Fledge or might suggest you as a page to follow. I think that can be used severely predatory. I don't always think that it is, though. And, I know that's the marketer way, like I lost him here, and I understand the frustration in it. And I think that part of it is like, it's kind of the game that is there, and I don't really know how to solve that. I think that it can definitely be used in a predatory way, and I think a lot of places definitely do, especially like, if there's an online university or just, another product or whatever it is that's saying you can instantly do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, making all these promises that they can't keep, or that they can't guarantee, at least, that I think that is predatory. But I don't fully know personally, and it's something I go back and forth on because, like I said, I'm the marketer that hates marketers. I drive myself crazy with this, that if, like if you had a pixel on your website and then it showed up and you were saying, hey, come visit us, like, hey, you were on our website, come in sometime, showing up on Facebook to keep yourself in front of them. I don't know if that's predatory.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But that's because I have a value system that I think it's consistent with.
Right.
And I think maybe, University of whoever rhymes with Phoenix or whatever, would have a different value system where they think it's okay, they are helping. I'm sure that, marketers, especially people that are doing the day to day, hey, I'm really going to help these people that are poor. They're going to get an education. So it really, it depends on who's using the tool.
And that's it. It's a very murky area. And like you said, value system. I mean, maybe people do really believe that this product will help a lot of people. And maybe it's true. I mean, I'm working with that Blur Busters company right now, right? I believe in the product. I do. And if it's, and I think Charles is a really good dude. If anybody hasn't seen the episode with Charles, go check it out. He's a very interesting guy. I really like talking to him. But, I think that Charles is in it for the right reasons, and he wants to build a business, but he also wants to sell a product that actually works. And that's why he started Blur Busters, because all of the other anti-fog wipes and whatnot that people were using for eyewear during the pandemic and whatnot, weren't really working as well as they advertised. And he was like, well, I'm going to go out and I want to try to find a way to actually make a product that does work. So for me, if I found out, I visited his website, then it popped up on Facebook, I wouldn't be mad about it. But if I was on some random website and then all of a sudden I was getting all these things for just these con artists and these scammers, I'd be like, well, that's super predatory. What are you doing? Like, what do you are the, I keep wanting to start naming brands and whatnot. I'm like, don't do it. don't do it. I don't want to get either.
Put them in the private comments. I'll put them up.
Yeah, no, I
call them out on this, because I got a whole bunch of predatory companies that I try to keep out of our ecosystem and try to stay away from. Oh man, Blur Busters. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
He reached out to me several months before the episode that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought exactly well, you didn't actually say you thought this. Let me be clear. I thought, what the hell? It's Blur Busters. It's It sounds really, really, I don't know, late night TV. Order it now. What's that called?
Kind of like infomercial kind of stuff.
Yeah.
QVC.
when I started talking to him, what a fascinating person, what a fascinating idea he has. And he offered me a bunch of samples right at the
Yeah.
beginning of COVID, and I didn't take him up on it, and I regret that. I mean, I've had shows where somebody has been sitting with me, and we had to have a mask on,
Yeah.
and their glasses were fogging up during the whole episode, and
Yeah.
I could have really used his product, and that's
And
where I missed because I overcompensated for the predators.
yeah, and I don't want to just turn this, and I am biased because I'm working with Blurbusters, but
Yeah,
I really, the reason I was watching, the way I actually stumbled across your podcast is because when Charles reached out to me through connections that we had in common and everything, before I said, yeah, I want to work with you, I wanted to really understand the product and, try to figure out, is this something I actually believe in, or I'm willing to give a shot to see if I believe in it before I say, sure, because money's fine and everything. That's great and everything, but God damn it. I mean, a conscience is a little bit more important to me. I'd rather sleep at night knowing that I didn't screw somebody over than make a quick buck personally. Right. So that's how I found your podcast. And I was like, okay, this Charles guy seems to know what he's talking about. I like where he's going with this. Reached out to him and he sent me some samples. I thought he was going to send me like 8 samples because I was like, could I use some to take some photos for you and try to understand the product? And can I just give them out to people as samples? I expected like a box of 8. He sent me like a box of 50. And I was like, I mean, he's a generous guy, right? So
yeah.
one
He's
of
a
my
very good person. I mean, I actually think that him and I probably have some beliefs that conflict with each other, but I also think that his heart is in the right spot for
he
sure.
is I mean, I got to give Charles a shout out too. I mean, I wouldn't be on this podcast without Charles either. And he is legitimately a great guy. If he sees this, he's probably going to send me an email, be like, you talked about me too much. Like, you're embarrassing me. Now, I don't know if he'll do that or not, but no, he's an incredible guy. And
well, let's embarrass him more. He's super smart. He has lots of patents. He is a real scientist. He's not just there with a bow tie on with a bunch of show. This is the real deal. This guy is doing science. He's doing real stuff. And
100%.
I really loved talking to him.
Yeah.
It was the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be.
Right. And he's honest as shit too. I mean, just an honest guy, because I was asking him about, when we were trying to put together an idea of who we could market these products to as, he does a lot of the business to business, the B2B side, and I'm handling and working on the B2C side of things. Right. And I brought up, I was like, hey, what about, like mountain skiers and all this, like maybe this is something. And he said, I was curious about that. So I had a friend of mine try that. And he said, none of the products that I've ever used really work all that well just because the conditions are so harsh. And he said, and your product's great and everything, but it's not for this. And he's like, so I do not want to market to people because he's like, I would rather work on something that works for them than try to sell them on something that does not work. And I was like, that is the kind of dude I want to work with right there. And, I got to be honest. So I mentioned Trevor Pline earlier. Him and I have a podcast that's been put on hold. It's called Implement Impact. And it's really just trying to help people live a better life mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever it is. It's all about health and wellness and betterment and anything, that we can talk about. I think we only had 3 episodes come out. We just recorded the 4th podcast, and we recorded the podcast at his house, and his house actually burned down. Right. So that's been on hold for a little while.
Was that a sign to quit doing this podcast?
I think Trevor actually made jokes about that too. He's got, you want to talk about another?
Sorry, Trevor, by the way.
God, no, that kid, I think he's like my age. We're the same age. So it's actually my fiance, Brooke, her cousin. And then, we both just started talking one day and we're like, hey, let's do this, so he makes so many jokes about his house burning down. He'd be like, yeah, like I was going to do this, but, then I burnt my house down. So, so he's always making jokes about it. But so whatever it is, and I don't want to get too much off topic for you and everything, but the way his house was built, the fire was small enough that he can rebuild his house and keep the shell intact and just fix this one part and then basically replace everything on the inside. It was built in the 1800s. And I guess the way that they built houses then, I know nothing about building houses, right? So this is what his insurance.
You were going to burn it down someday.
Right. Yeah. They're like, probably going to catch on fire in the next couple hundred years. So might as well. So we were in there, and he had all the old plaster walls and everything. All that was original, I believe. And it, I don't know if you've ever taken plaster off of walls, but the amount of dust that comes off is asinine. It is crazy.
Not only have I done that, I've almost been killed doing it.
Uh-oh.
As you can imagine, I have a 100-year-old church with tons of plaster.
Yeah, and high ceilings.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so we haven't almost died from it, thank God. His ceilings, I think, were only like 10 feet instead of, I'm sure, 100-year-old church like that probably had the really tall cathedral ceilings and really
probably
tall.
That ceiling right there is at least 30 feet.
Wow. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I mean, it's a dangerous job. I 100%. But Brooke and I were over there helping Trevor out with it. And I was like, I want to test the blur busters. I want to see, because we have to wear the masks and the safety glasses and everything, and they keep fogging up. And I was like, I want to see if this works, because I thought for sure that what was going to happen is the plaster was going to absorb all of the moisture that the blur busters put on the glasses that you can't see, but it's always kind of there. It's a self-leveling stuff. Man, if you didn't go watch the episode of Charles, he can explain how it all works, and it's really cool how it works. But I thought for sure it was going to get all dried up and it wasn't going to work. It worked like the whole time. We were there for hours and did not have to reuse the product, and when you took it off, you could see plaster stuck to the glasses in little tiny specks, but they'd never fogged up. They never got so dirty that you couldn't see out of them. I didn't even know that the plaster was on there, or the dust was on there at all. And I tell you what, man, I believed in blur busters. I thought they were a good product. I always have sunglasses on my head, is kind of what I've become known for at this point. So I'm always using them on that. But when I used it there, I said, this is it. This is actually a real thing that I would actually recommend it to somebody instead of just trying to sell it. And I really don't recommend things at all, to be honest with you. Personally, it's not something I ever really do, but I would recommend that.
So now everybody out there is falling in love with you and saying, this is the guy I want marketing my product. How can they reach out to you? Do you have a website? Do you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok?
Yeah.
Snapchat?
So
tell us all the ones we need.
Yes. So, oh man, let's see. If you want to actually engage with me or see what I'm up to, Instagram's the best one. And I don't even know what that is. Let me grab my phone here. I can tell you what my username is. I do have Facebook. I got LinkedIn. I have a Reddit account that I just kind of interact with people on Reddit, kind of thing is what the plan with that is. I have a Pinterest account that will basically just be a Instagram account that I'll just throw up there to reach more people. I do have TikTok. I'm still trying to understand TikTok. I hate TikTok personally. The only reason I'm trying to use it.
I'm up to like 340 followers.
That's awesome.
Proud of it.
No, good for you. If you want to grow, that's a great platform to be on. I 100% believe that. I'm trying to understand it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Also, my Instagram. Sorry.
Yeah. Tell us that first.
So that'll be John J, as you see it written here, _Thomas. If you find me on there, you'll see a guy that looks like Tim Tebow, and that's me. So yeah, that's probably the best place. But I also have a website that is John J. Thomas, just as you see it written here.com. I am in the process of rebuilding it and restructuring my pricing model. I put this pricing model up that I currently have just as a try to get this out there right now kind of thing. And over time, I've been slowly building it. My real goal was to get that done before I came onto this podcast. And well, summer classes Brooke, that's my fiance. See that guy in the white shirt right there? That's me. And the one in the orange shirt, that is Brooke. Thanks, Brooke. I appreciate it.
I also put it up there, but she did it so much better. I thought, give her kudos. Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. So if you are reaching out and you want to talk to me, there's the contact form on there. I will respond as soon as I can. I can give my email address. It's just jj@johnjthomas.com. I don't have that public. Yep, just JJ as the letter J at johnjthomas.com. Feel free to send me an email. I don't have that publicly listed just because of all the spam bots that go through websites and go through everything to try to,
you want me to hit enter or
Yeah,
not?
yeah, go ahead. I'm fine with it on here. That's okay. I just don't have it listed on my website. The contact form goes directly there. So if you are
Okay.
interested in working or just talking, ask if you have a question, even if it's like, I just have this one question about marketing. Can I ask it? Go for it. I'm all for that. But if you are interested in working with me, feel free to reach out and we can talk about the new pricing model that I'm introducing hopefully in the next week here.
Okay.
But
So I have a question real quick.
yeah,
I get at least 3 to 5 times a day, I get on my contact form on my website somebody telling me how nobody can find my website and that I need to build my SEO. How did
yes,
they find my website to tell me that? That's
that's a
what I
good
want.
question, right?
I'm going to keep responding to them. Well,
How
how
did
did
you
you
find my
tell me
website? How did you find my website? No, that's a good question. I mean, there's just databases out there, just websites, right? I mean, when I registered my business with the state, now I get so much spam mail all the time, because they just go through wherever all these databases. There's this like all Bizopedia is like this whole database of all these businesses that if you have a business, go check that out. And I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying because they'll list the owner and the owner's address on there too. If you create an account with them for free, you can get that removed. They'll try to have you upsell for like $100 a year to do all this crazy stuff. I don't personally think it's worth it, but I would at least create the account just because I didn't want my personal address out there. I only wanted my business address out there. So I got that, and within 24 hours, they took it down. But they won't remove your listing. They'll just hide your personal address if you submit that. So just a little piece of advice. Yeah, spiders are what they
Do you
go
know what that is?
through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so spiders are even what like Google will use, right? So they're called spiders because they crawl your website, and that's how Google will kind of decide what your website's about, how relevant it is. They try to classify you and categorize you to understand that, and that's where your sitemap will come in handy of trying to.
Mm.
It helps Google better understand. It helps their spiders. It helps all of that stuff better understand your website. So was that David that put that comment out there? Was it or Don?
It's
Yeah.
Don. Yeah.
Thank you, Don. I
And
appreciate that.
and he also said a good topic today. He watches
Oh,
the
thank
show a
you.
lot. He's never said good topic, so he must hate all the other shows or something. But
Or he
I'll
just
tell you
feels
what.
really bad for me, and he's like,
I
I got to give this kid a compliment here.
No, but I will tell you one thing that Don's been in marketing for. Well, I've known him for like 60 years, so he's been in marketing for like 80 years. We make jokes about how old we are, but Don's a good guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Don, if you want to send me a friend request or something on Facebook, or just email me, I'd really be honest. I'd love to talk to you because I like talking to other marketers who actually agree with me. I like talking to ones that disagree with me, but agree with me on the, being honest and not being predatory and trying to honestly do some good rather than do some evil with marketing. So
It,
I'd
he's
really be
actually
interested in talking to you sometime.
he's one of my favorite people in the marketing space for sure. He's actually
Yeah.
one of my favorite people. I hope he's still listening. Oh, we've known each other for 40 years. No, he's been in marketing for 40 years.
40 years.
So,
Hey,
and
if you can be in marketing and, here's the thing, it's if you can be in marketing that long and still be a good person and still know what's going on. It seems like a lot of people that I know that are older in marketing kind of checked out a long time ago and are just kind of going with the old flow. So that's a huge testament, honestly, to Don and his work ethic and his personality. If he's putting in the effort to really try to provide as much value as he can. Don, I don't know if you have your own business or whatnot, but I'm going to shout out Don right now. Like, I don't know. Because I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate your help and your compliments in the comments too. But
he's asked me
um,
to give you. I'll introduce you guys after the show.
yeah, no, that sounds great. Thank you.
And if anybody wants to know more about Don, he was on the show on March 20th, and you can search him up on our YouTube channel or what have you. So, mission. What's your
Mission.
mission? Because I try
Um,
to tie, or actually, we talked about one project. That's your marketing stuff. Do you want to talk
yeah.
about anything else? You're
No, I
you're a
mentioned
flamenco
implement.
dancer or something?
No, I
No.
wish. I wish that'd be a better hobby. No, I mean, I have hobbies. I like being out on the water. I play guitar. I like riding bikes. I'm not like Harley Davidson, I'm not that cool kind of thing. I like pedal bikes, like mountain bikes, road bikes kind of stuff. I like that. But Implement Impact was the other one I wanted to touch on just because Trevor was involved in it. And actually, if you wouldn't mind, I think that Trevor should hop on here sometime because I think he's a super nice guy, good dude to talk to. And even if he didn't hop on, I think that you two would get along pretty well. So,
Trevor, please hop on. And you have to do it fast because we're down to 17 episodes that haven't been filled yet.
Yeah. So, no, I'll send him a text after this podcast too.
Yeah, I would love it. So let's talk more about it though. Implement Impact.
Yeah. So that really just kind of came out of the idea of, like we were talking about serving and trusting and everything and adding value. Trevor, came up, and Trevor's the nicest guy that you will ever meet in your life. He doesn't say anything bad about anybody. He is just the most authentic and genuine person you will ever meet in your life. And he's single, and he's going to kill me for saying that. So if anybody's interested, reach out to Trevor. But he'll kill me for saying that. I'm going to get an angry text here in a little bit. But no, he...
Will you show us the angry text just to make him more
If he
angry?
sends me a text here, I will read it on air. Yes.
Okay.
and I'll probably hide any profanities that he throws at me. But anyways, yeah, so that came about. He came over one time. We were just having coffee, and he mentioned, he feels like he's been very blessed in his life, and he wanted to find ways to give back, and he was saying, with his, I don't know if you ever heard of the Wim Hof method by chance. It's basically, it kind of takes these practices of like meditation and tumo breathing and whatnot, and ice baths and everything. And it's never been a secret. It's stuff that people have done for thousands of years. He's just the one that kind of popularized it again and has brought this whole thing.
You know who told me about that is the guy whose paintings are up on the wall way up there.
Yeah.
James McFarland, Hot Water Works on Michigan Avenue, but he did cold baths and these Japanese techniques, and he's the one that taught me about that.
Yes.
I remember the day he said that. I knew that phrase sounded familiar.
So, and that's exactly it. These techniques have been around forever. But he's just the one that kind of successfully marketed it and brought it out to the mainstream here, at least in the West. So, we were talking about
what's Travis's last name? What's his
Trevor?
name?
Trevor.
Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor Pline, Pline.
All right, we'll go from there.
And I've been doing this method for a couple of years. I think 3 years now. This winter will be 3 years. Because I get that seasonal depression and whatnot that a lot of people get. And I remember one year it was just so bad. I said, I will never get this bad again. Like, I will do anything I need to do because it was affecting the people that I loved, and I was like, I cannot let that happen again. And the Wim Hof method, I was like, fuck it. It's already cold. If some people say this works, I'm just going to give it a shot. And it, for me, it worked. And talk to your doctor, do all that stuff before you decide to do anything. Don't come at me. I'm not recommending anything. I'm just saying what worked for me.
With a heart attack in 0 degrees.
Yeah. So we were talking about that, and he's like, he started doing it, and he's like, this stuff has helped me out so much. I just want to share the good news with everybody. He kind of wants to evangelize that, right? I guess. So he was talking like, he's like, I've done these exercises and this worked, and I've done this other stuff and it didn't work. And I don't want people to waste their money on crap that I've wasted money on. I just want to report how it works. And then we talked about Implement Impact of how can we help people live better lives. So the ultimate goal of that is really to just build up a podcast and a channel that we're kind of guinea pigs on things, like right now we're doing this 30-day ab challenge just to see if it works. Right. So we're going to be doing that, or we did a challenge of trying to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, no matter what, and like exercise and meditate and whatnot. So, just trying things out, be like, hey, this worked for us. This is our experience. If you're interested in joining along and your doctor says it's okay, join along. That's the goal. And then trying to interview people, I have a friend, Shannon, who's starting up what is it? It's a course that's all about self-healing and everything. What is it? Something the waves. I don't remember what it is, but like having her on to discuss that, because Shannon's a very genuine and honest person. How can we, like, hey, come on here, talk about your experiences. How have you overcome these obstacles in your life, and what can other people take away from that maybe will help them too? That's the whole goal of it, just to use our point of privilege and everything that we have and the blessings that we've had in our life to give back to everybody else that will listen and that we can.
How can we subscribe, look it up, whatever?
Yeah. So right now, as I mentioned, Trevor's house is on fire. Well, not on fire currently as we speak. It was on fire. Now the fire's put out. We're hoping to kind of come back in September, but you can find us Implement Impact. That's on YouTube. It's on YouTube right now. You can find us on Instagram. We're really not active a whole lot right now because we haven't been able to do anything. But if you look on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, you'll find us. Sometime in September, we're supposed to be coming back. So if you just subscribe, we'll be announcing that and putting shows out weekly again.
So come to my TikTok and I'll put their TikTok on. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm actually going to follow you. I have a note to follow you when we're done with this, actually.
It'll be 6 of you then. But on TikTok, Implement Impact, right?
Yep. And it's it's a orange and black logo. Pretty minimalistic.
I'm not going to type all that. What do you do every damn day to push your mission forward? What is your mission?
Yeah, so my mission.
What are you trying to do, yo?
My mission is really, I just want to help other people reach their goals. Like I said, I'm really overly frustrated with the marketing community as a whole, and I really want to help small businesses in particular. That's 50% of America is employed by small businesses, and I feel like small businesses are increasingly left behind, and somebody's got to be here to help them out. And there are people out there that are helping them out, but there needs to be more of us who are doing that, especially in this marketing field, to help them compete or find ways to survive and thrive in the world of Amazons and Apples and Googles and everything else. So my goal really is to kind of just help those small businesses and those entrepreneurs achieve their dreams. And hey, if I can achieve my dream of running my own business and helping these people out in the process, that's a win-win situation for everybody. The ultimate goal, the world plan for world domination, is to really just kind of become a thought leader in the field of marketing. That would be the ideal goal. Be world renowned as this marketer and really try to change a lot of people's opinions on marketing, and not even like make everybody think that marketing the way it is perfect, no, but like change it to be, hey, if you're a marketer, don't be a shithead, don't be a fuckface, don't suck, be honest, be genuine.
Did you know fuckface is my favorite phrase?
Is it? I love it
all
too.
The fucking time. I say it all the time.
I get accused of saying that way too much, so I think you and I are on like the same wavelength right here.
I'm going to accuse you of not saying it enough.
Okay, I probably don't. I don't think I say it enough, but no, I really want to be that way of, hey, look, you can influence people, there's nothing wrong with influencing people. There's nothing wrong with marketing. There's nothing wrong with all these things. It's just a thing. It's just a tactic, but how you use it and why you use it is the big thing. If you are trying to influence somebody to try increasing your conversion rates to get a donation to charity, right? Like, let's say with all the hurricanes and earthquakes and tsunamis and all the horrible shit that goes on in the world, if you have a charity that, hey, we need money so that we can send supplies down to Puerto Rico, let's, because they're still dealing with shit from that last hurricane that went through there.
Don't forget Puerto Rico. Don't forget Flint.
Or Flint is, even closer to home, right? Like, let's say there's still a lot of pipes in Flint that need to be replaced, right? And let's say that there's a charity that, hey, you know what, we're trying to raise money so that Flint can give it to the contractors, whoever it is that's doing the work, so that they can replace these faster with better quality pipes, or maybe provide filters for these families who are still dealing with this to hold them over until the pipes are clean. There's nothing wrong with using influence tactics. You can be predatory in that too, but if you're trying to, if we can increase our rates, our conversion rate from 6% of people are donating to 25% just by using the foot in the door technique or the door in the face technique, right? Then I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. You're just using a tactic to, get more money to this cause that you actually believe in. So,
is it really predatory? You just made me have an epiphany. I'm really thinking hard on what you just said.
I think it depends, because there are some charities, right, that will bombard you like crazy. Even if you say, look, I can't give anymore. If you keep pushing, like, okay, let's say foot in the door technique. Hey, you know what? will you be willing to give us $10 towards this charity? And then maybe in a month you're like, hey, if you can afford it, can you give us $50? Like, this is still ongoing. That's a foot in the door. Get them to commit to one small thing, and then they're more likely to commit to a larger ask at a later point in time. I don't think that's wrong. But I would say it would get predatory. This is my opinion. And if anybody disagrees, hey, feel free to insert that in the chat. I'd love to hear an opinion, especially if somebody disagreed. But if you were like, hey, give us $10, and then you're like, hey, can you give us 50? And then they're like, look, I can give you 40, but I can't. Be like, yeah, but just a little bit more. And then you're kind of, I understand it, but if you're putting other people at financial risk because you want them to give money to your charity, well, then maybe what you're doing that was good is slowly becoming bad over time. That would be my opinion. Or if you're a charity that, we give $1 out of every $1,000 that we raise to charity, but the rest of it, we got a lot of overhead, we got to pay all these people to pester you all the time. Well, then that would be a unethical thing, and that'd be predatory in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the book Weapons of Mass Destruction?
No, but I'm going to read it.
Check that out. It was written by a black woman who discovered IBM's Watson was super biased because of the data that they were feeding. She made IBM redo tons of stuff, and just an awesome book. Read that book.
Yeah, no, I'd actually be really interested in reading.
And I actually think you and I are vibing, and we have a lot in common, and we share a value system.
Yes.
So, thank you for everything you just shared with us. I'm going to move into daisy chaining the. Wait, no. What do you do every damn day to push your mission?
Oh, forward? Yes, that's right. We talked about my mission, but not that. I would say the thing that I do every day, honestly, is I really want to be able to provide the best information I can. So I have like a goal to read 50 pages of a marketing or branding or some book that revolves around that every day. Try to read 50 pages. It's kind of hard to do during summer classes when you're reading like 100 pages a day anyways for your class. It's hard to find the time to read an extra 50, but I'm trying. Or, listening to a podcast, trying to listen to alternative opinions on marketing, all these different ideas, watching YouTube videos, reading articles, trying to stay up to date as much as I can, and trying to get as much information about marketing that I can to really provide the best service that I actually can to people for the best price that I could reasonably give. I think that I want to touch on, I know where my prices are and everything, and I would always say it's probably better to pay a little bit more for value rather than just for time kind of thing, right? But if I only get so much time with this client, I want to give them way more worth of value than what they paid in money, right? If they paid me $100 for something, well, then I want to make sure that they're going to make way more than $100 back on that investment to speak with me or do whatever it might be I'm losing my train of thought here now. Everything's kind of blurring together, but
I think your value proposition is not just what you can do for them now, but I think that I could call you in 30 years, 23 years, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And you'd pick up the phone and sort of, kind of, maybe remember me, but still be there. You built a lot of trust with me today.
Thank you. And that's the goal. And, I'm going to toot my own horn here. And I don't mean it, but it's an example of it, is that I had somebody reach out to me recently who I've known for a little while, and they're a public speaker, and they were paying a company, I don't even know how much, just to manage their website. And all they wanted them to do was just to update their website whenever they had a new speaking job come up, right? And the company told them, we will only update your website every 3 months, once a quarter, we will do it. But they were still charging hundreds of dollars a month just to host the website, even though she could host the website herself because it was already built on WordPress and everything. So she dropped them. She reached out to me and said, hey, would you be willing to help me out with this? And I said, sure. So when we met, I was like, this is all you want? And she said, yeah, and I have no idea how to do this. So I said, okay, well, screen share, like if you look right here, you go to your files, you add a file here, you go here, this is your page, and you can do that. And she said, that's it? And I was like, yeah. I was like, 5-10 minutes per per post. I was like, unless if you want to do some crazy like redesigns to your website, I said, it's really, if you just want to add a speaking gig or if you want to add a publication that you've had recently, then that's it. And she said, I was paying hundreds of dollars a month for 5 minutes of work, and they wouldn't even do it every month. They would do it every 3 months. And I said, yep. And she said, if I'd have known that, I'd done this myself. I'd just paid them to build the website and done all this myself the whole time and saved myself thousands and thousands of dollars. And I wasn't even going to charge that much to do this. It was going to be super cheap because I was like, it's 5 minutes worth of work. It's really just logging into a website, adding something. And I told her, I said, here's what I think you should do. I don't even think you should pay me to do this. I think you should do this on your own, because why waste the money on me? I was like, look, if you hit a busy point in your life and you're like, hey, I just need you to do this one-time thing. Like, okay, give me the login information, give me the stuff. I'll do it really quick for you. And then, you can pay me for that time. But why pay me every month to do something that's going to take 5 minutes if you know how to do it now? Just I think you should do it yourself. And hey, if you got any questions, I'm here. Don't even need to pay me. If you just need a quick tutorial on it again, reach out. We'll set up a time. So that's kind of the ultimate goal, is that even if somebody doesn't use my consulting services, that look, if you got a question, if you don't have the money for consultant or anything, that's a-okay. Just send a message in the contact form. I'll try to get back to you within a day or two, max. And I want to help the small businesses out. That's the ultimate goal.
I love it. You feel, you give the vibe that you're passionate about things. You are fair about things, that you see a new model in the future. It's models that displace other models that really break it. Because probably 20 years ago, everybody was charging $2,000 a month to do a simple website update and whatever. So you're going to change and shift that paradigm. And I love what you're doing, man.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing out there in Lansing too with the Fledge. So I appreciate you bringing me on here. I don't think we're done with the podcast yet. I'm going to let you.
Done.
Yeah, I'm going to let you actually carry on. But I do appreciate being here.
I appreciate it too, and we got to get rolling a little bit because this is going to be the longest show ever. By the way, I think we only have like a few minutes left, and then we'll cross that mark. But we daisy chain the shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had Michael Graham, who's with MI Vegan Food Truck. And his question for you is, what's a hidden talent that nobody knows about?
Oh, man. Now I'm looking around for inspiration again, because I don't know. I'm kind of an open book. Man.
See, that was my problem with answering the question, too. It's because I'm pretty sure I try to show off everything I know how to do.
Right, that's it. It's like, if I can do something, I want to show everybody. Mostly
so
because
what
I'm
if
just
it's
a
not
shot.
hidden? What's a hidden talent I don't know you have?
Okay. Well, I did say that I play guitar, so I guess that's not a hidden talent anymore. I do that. Oh goodness. Let's see.
But do the people at your work, do people in your class, does Brooke even know you play the guitar?
She knows I play the guitar because I turn it up too loud. That's how she knows I play guitar. No, man, I don't know. I guess I'm very good with woodworking. I always joke that I should have been a carpenter. Not a lot of people actually do know that, but I really like woodworking. We do not have the space for it here, so I haven't been able to build a full wood shop. But I built a. Oh, you got something. I want to hear it.
You and I need to talk because I got a whole woodworking thing that I'm about to put in Otto. I think I'm hoping with the Poor People's Campaign, and we're going to have this. We need to talk. We'll just talk later.
Absolutely. I'm not a pro I'm going to give you a fair warning. I love it, and I'm good at it. I can build stuff pretty well, but I'm not a pro. If you're like, can you handcraft an entire table? I'd be like, I don't know about that. Like I could try, but it's not going to be a super pretty table.
Kendall does woodworking out of here and is also not a pro, but made his way through it. So he said, I don't know if he meant to just type nice or if he's being.
I think he's saying it like noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the barista.
Oh, that's a great. Yeah, Brooke knows that. I am a psycho when it comes to coffee. I tell you what. Oh my goodness.
Psycho.
Yeah, it's an unhealthy obsession. I have way too much coffee every day, which is probably why I talk so loud and so fast and so much. Um, yeah, that's a better one. Less people actually know that I'm a great barista as well. I know way too much about coffee. We have all these different coffee techniques that like makers and everything at home. I'm a coffee snob. I won't. I mean, if somebody made me coffee that was like in the coffee pot machine, you just put in, turn on, I'd do it. But I would never make that myself. I'm a complete snob about it. We roast our own coffee beans. I mean, it is an unhealthy obsession.
It sounds like it. It's making me stressed out already because I just feel like if I invite you here, if I don't have the right coffee, it's
No,
going to
no, no,
be a
no.
problem.
No, I will gladly accept any coffee that anybody makes at any point in time. I've only turned down one cup of coffee in my life, and that's it. So it's yeah, I'll drink any coffee, but if I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna spend 10 minutes making like the perfect cup kind of thing.
I love the answer. Or the
Thank you, Brooke,
answers,
for helping. I
actually.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Brooke. I thanked her before, too. Um, Tomorrow on the show, I have uh, Chris Jackson, who's starting the Lansing Pharaohs. He's the general manager and owner of a semi pro basketball team that's coming to Lansing. What question would you like to ask Chris?
I'd love to ask it oh what is I would like to ask, what is the hardest thing that you have ever done that you willingly chose to do? Not a situation that you were put into, like Trevor's house burning down. He had no choice in that. That just happened. But what's the hardest thing you've ever done that you willingly chose to go through?
And I think he's going to love that answer. I can't wait to. I don't know him well. I've met with him a couple times, so I'm excited about this show. Let me ask you though, how would you answer that question?
I don't know. Actually, I really don't. No, it would probably be a situation of letting go of past trauma or past wrongdoing that's happened to me, and going out of my way when it wasn't even asked to forgive, but just forgive that person, or even ask. I've done this before too. Have asked for forgiveness from somebody that I know now hates me, hates my guts, right? Like I am, I am the devil as far as they're concerned, and reaching out unsolicited and just saying, "Hey, I'm sorry for whatever it is." I don't want to say here even, but like, I was an asshole to you at one point in my life, and I am genuinely sorry for that. And that's not easy to do. That's it's a hard thing to admit we're wrong. It's a hard thing to ask for forgiveness on something. It's hard to forgive people. It's gone both ways, but it's not an easy thing to do. But it would be something I'd challenge all of us to do, because I think that there's definitely some healthy moments in that. As hard as it is in that moment, the weight that kind of gets like relieved from your shoulders afterwards is remarkable. And it's stuff that you don't even realize you're carrying around. Like we kind of get used to that weight. We get used to that stress. And then when we let it go, then I think that's when you can kind of really realize just how weightless clean conscience can feel.
That answer is amazing, especially, I don't like cancel culture at all. And I think it breeds more problems in other communities. And
Yeah.
all we're really doing is we're picking up a tiger and saying, all right, we caught him. I'm going to go drop him off in this neighborhood, and it's their problem.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you're a tiger or anything, but what I am saying is that we need to reflect on that, those things. Who did we hurt? And
Right.
it's going to make me reflect on this too. But who did we hurt, and who should we apologize to?
Yeah.
And maybe they won't accept it. Maybe it's not good enough for them. But at some level, you have to heal too, even if you're the person that did something wrong.
Yeah.
There's healing there, and if you're the receiver of somebody who did something wrong, you have to heal there, and all of it's healing. I love
Yeah.
this answer.
No, thank you. And I think you're right. And it goes back, I hate cancel culture as well. And it goes back to what we were talking about, sorry, I got a little furry on my face here. It goes back to that, what culture do you want to create? You come to all of it through trust and everything, which is a great place to be. and there's a, like we talked about, there's a little bit of humanity in everybody, right? We're all human. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect, you know, and why, and again, there will be some people who don't want to apologize. They don't want the acceptance. They don't want whatever it is. But most people feel bad if they make a mistake. If they did something, well, maybe opening up the dialogue is better than doing that, because all we're really doing is really what I think it was Confucius, isn't that, who said, like, being angry is like drinking poison and expecting it to kill your enemy. I mean, we can sit there and be angry and rage on Twitter and everywhere else that we want all day, every day. But it's really just hurting us and turning us into what we don't want to be and what we claim to hate.
Yeah. I've heard that quote with jealousy, revenge, and anger.
Yeah. You know, but he probably didn't say any of it. It probably said something completely different, and we're all just like, this is what he said. Like, I'm sure that's
probably some Greek word that means all of those things.
Right. Yeah.
Being a dick is like drinking the other whatever.
You know, I need to get that as a custom sign made and just put it up here somewhere.
So happiness, sadness, joy, hope, or love, which word or words would you like to talk about?
Oh man, you know, I think all of those are, we could talk about all of those for, this is an hour, 26 minutes and 23 seconds right now. We could talk about each one of those words for this amount of time and still not cover it. But I think I would go with love, as cheesy as that is, you know, because in love, you're going to experience all of those things, you know, and it'll still bind you together with whatever it is or whoever it is. You know, I mean, really inconsequential example. There are times that the guitar has brought me a lot of joy, a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, a lot of happiness, all that stuff, you know, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, pain, even, you know, sometimes guitar strings break and poke your finger, and that hurts. But, you know, I think that the love of music, the love of the instrument is the same thing. It's the same thing with family, same thing with a close friend, you know. You're not going to agree on everything all the time. Sometimes they might do something that causes you pain. Sometimes you'll do that, you know. Relationships, sometimes they break up. Sometimes shit happens and there's a lot of pain, but there's also a lot of joy in there too. But you don't get to experience any of it if you don't have love.
It's rare I have an epiphany on the show. It's rare that I have two. And thank you for that, because love is the spectrum.
Yes.
And everything else is part of that spectrum. That's an amazing insight to me.
Thank you.
You know, every damn day is just my therapy. I don't really care about the show.
I'm just here to get free therapy. That's it.
Yeah. Actually, yes. I don't want to add anything. I don't want to ask you a question. That was beautiful. That was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for asking it. Honestly, I appreciate that.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. I had no idea what to expect. I'm like, oh, fuck, another marketing guy. And you are not another marketing guy.
Thank you.
And I'd say the same about Don, by the way. He's very digital, very systemic, but he starts in a good place.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah, I think you're amazing. I hope you and I keep talking.
I do too. I am going to be sending you a friend request and following the Fledge on everything that I can find you guys on.
TikTok's the only thing that, no, I'm just kidding. Everything's good.
It's the only thing that matters. Nothing else but TikTok is it.
Man, it's addictive. Don't do it. Nobody go to TikTok. Don't do it.
No, I feel you, dude. I feel you.
Funny.
No, it is. And that's it. Cause I don't personally love TikTok all that much, but again, I feel like as a marketer, you kind of got to step into it to try understanding it. And, you know, it turns out like if the algorithms figured me out, it's like a bunch of like business and betterment videos that I'm now getting, cat videos and dog videos, you know, cute ones, pranks, which are hilarious. And then it turns out like there's this one guy on there called the Derm Doctor, and he's kind of like Dr. Pimple Popper, but he reviews like all these doctors who make the videos. He's like, oh, they didn't wear gloves, or, oh, they should have done this. They should have poked a hole. They should have done this. And it's addicting. I'll sit there and I'll just keep watching and watching. And he's like, that was a 10 out of 10 pimple pop or cyst pop or whatever it was right there. Next one. Oh, this is 3 out of 10. Oh, don't watch the end of this video. And it's like, yeah, I can't help it.
I'm going to tell you something that's probably super inappropriate right now, but one of my favorite. I learned so much on TikTok. I mean, it's funny too, but there is so much good information, and you can learn a
Yeah.
lot very quick. YouTube, you can learn a lot too, but you might have to watch 30 minutes before you
Yeah.
learn. TikTok's like 60 seconds or get out of
Yeah.
here. And I'm gonna say this to all you men: Dick Doc is super, super good. I'm just telling you that. It's
Oh
super
no.
good for men's health and for everything you don't want to talk to anybody about. It's the exact right thing. Dick Doc.
I
I'm gonna go out there and say it.
I think they win the best name on TikTok right there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh no. What if the rabbit hole I'm about to go into now? Like after this, just gonna be like, I can't believe this is a thing. And then 2 hours later, I'll look up from my phone and be like, oh crap.
I get these screen time warnings from my iPhone all the time.
Hmm.
And the first I signed up for TikTok about 3 months ago and started promoting stuff and whatnot. And all of a sudden, like TikTok is like an hour for every 2 minutes of Facebook. And I
Yeah.
used to be on Facebook promoting stuff all the time. It was unbelievable to me how much it took over my attention.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I really mean this. Do not get on TikTok.
it's a dangerous place to go. You'll go down a rabbit hole. It's like the old Vines, back when I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
what those
I
are.
do. I do.
I mean, you can go to YouTube and watch hour and a half compilations of Vines that are just a couple seconds long each, but they're addicting and I think TikTok Vine went out. There wasn't a good pricing model that had it, so Twitter I bought it or owned it already and they shut it down because it wasn't making money. TikTok found a way to monetize it that Vine and Twitter did not see and brought that back. And I think there was a huge market of people who wanted that back, not even for the funny stuff, which was mostly Vine, but they just found something in the human condition. Like there's something about us that they found it, they caught it, and now we are all fucked because we are going to spend so much time on TikTok. Nothing's going to get done anymore. It's it. My
I'm
business is
pretty.
shutting down, guys. It's done. I won't have
Their
any
algorithms
TikTok.
are super predatory because they're super addictive.
Yeah.
They definitely use strategies out of addiction and substance
Oh
use
yeah.
that plays on your brain like that. But I'm so confused because it's so entertaining and so educational,
Yeah.
and then so also useless, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
always. And I don't know. I'm just giving in.
Well,
I'm just
it's
suck
funny
me in.
because all of Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, Facebook owns Instagram, YouTube. I mean, all of the TikTok, all of the companies are paying engineers and psychologists and everything a shit ton of money to figure out how to keep us on there as long as they can, because that's more time you're on there, the more ads you're going to see, the more money they're going to make. And I mean, hey, I got no problem with them making any money because they are providing a service that people want. But there is, the social dilemma, that came out a little while ago. There's a lot of issues with that.
Thank you.
Um,
All right.
oops, sorry. Am I running over?
We are running. We're super
Sorry.
late.
Sorry.
Thank you, Peter, by the way. But we're almost done too.
Yeah.
So it's all about the eyeballs, is what Don said. I was going to say
Yep.
that same thing.
Don is 100% right. We are the commodity now. We are what our attention is what's being sold. That's how they make their money.
Facebook, I never thought I was going to make any money on, and never have. Except for we have a good engagement and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Instagram, same thing. YouTube, I kind of had a belief at one point that I could get there and start monetizing. I'm not even sure about that. But
Mhm.
TikTok, man, I feel like I'm going to be a creator. I'm going to be
Hey,
one of those guys making it big.
I would love to
And
see it. I
that's,
really would.
I think that's the other side of the equation that I don't get with the other ones is that, I could really do this. I could make some money here if this one TikTok of me throwing a grape 100 feet in the air and catch it in my mouth would just take off.
Yeah.
you know?
Honest to
And
God, if you just made a TikTok for yourself, that's all you did is like, I'm going to throw shit up in the air and catch it like in my mouth and like type in the comment below. You want to see a watermelon? Yeah, we can do it. I
I don't,
mean, I would
I don't
watch
want
that
to do a
forever.
water. I, okay, I'll try a watermelon,
I mean,
but
you could like hype it, be like tossing a watermelon, then throw like a little watermelon cube, be like, oh,
hmm
psych, gotcha, kind of thing. No harm, no
okay.
foul there with that kind of clickbaiting. I think it's comedy, it's a joke, it's just showing a talent. Make all these people think you're gonna throw up a whole watermelon and catch it on your face. What? No, he's not. Oh, it's a little watermelon cube. Oh, that's funny. And I'm impressed.
Well, I have a hidden talent challenge going on TikTok right now, which was my guest yesterday asked, "What's your hidden talent?" What you answered there, and throwing stuff way up in the air and catching it in my mouth is my hidden talent. So I made a TikTok, and I'm asking people to stitch together now and show me their hidden talent. And today I will post what is the hardest thing that you ever chose. Willingly to do. And that will be my challenge. And I'll answer that question on TikTok myself
Awesome.
and put a challenge out to everybody else. So thanks for giving the question. Thanks for coming on the show. The
And
longest show that I think, oh no, Kathy Dunbar, who's running against Andy, I can't remember his last name.
the Lansing
Um,
mayor, Shore?
yeah,
Is it
maybe,
Shore?
maybe.
SCHOR or something like that?
I don't know. I'm
He's
just,
not my mayor. I don't live there, so I think
yeah,
that's it. I think that's what I read in the news, but I don't know.
maybe I can't remember. I just won't say his name on my show. That's why. Uh,
All right, sorry.
uh,
I didn't mean
but
to
anyway,
didn't mean to break a policy here.
no, it's okay. He tear gassed our kids, and we're not happy about it
Oh,
still. But that's a whole different show.
yeah.
But Kathy Dunbar went for 2 hours, so
Well,
you're the second longest show for sure.
I
So
will
take us
concede
out with something.
victory to Kathy Dunbar. Then she won the competition of the longest podcast.
She also had the fastest drop off. I'm not sure anybody saw the last hour because it's hard to watch 2 hours of a podcast every damn day.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
feel that.
Take us out with something. Tell us something. Give us
All
some
right.
free advice. That's what I
Free
really want.
advice. Well, I feel like we've been kind of I'm just kind of like a broken record. I just repeat the same thing because it comes down to there's all the techniques and everything are just that they're techniques, but the real, bread and butter of it, engage with your audience, build that community, and add value to people's lives. I think are the two most important things that a business or an organization or person can do to be successful. It's always, what is it? It's always better to have an audience of 1,000 that buys everything than an audience of 5,000 that only, 5% or 1%, buy anything from you or engage with you. So I think that, engaging with them, adding value are the two biggest things that you can do. And please, 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 if you are a business or an organization or anything, get an email listserv, get an email database that you can engage and actually use it. I think that is incredibly important. You don't know when Facebook's going to get mad at you for whatever and kick you off or just change their algorithm. You don't know when Google's going to do that. You don't know when Instagram, TikTok, all of those things could go away tomorrow, but you own those. You don't own those emails, but you own that database of those emails and those customers actually want to engage with you. Please make that. That is your marketing goldmine. I'm actually writing a blog post for my website right now that you are sitting on a goldmine. It's all about your email database.
We've had two guests on the show, both of them that have been ruined because they've been kicked off from their platform and were making money from it. One with it was Donald Trump, and the other one was Pat Garrett. No, it wasn't really Donald Trump, but
Yeah.
Skater Arcade. Go back to that. Skater Arcade 2.0 on TikTok. Super badass channel. Didn't really do anything wrong except for show Burt Reynolds sort of naked, covering his privates with a pineapple.
Oh, and that's
got
it.
banned.
Yep. That's it. Is that what Don mentioned about context? That was probably just a complete joke. That it was a reference that people were going to get, but not all the time do the algorithms or even do the employees of those companies agree with what you did.
Yeah.
And it could be as harmless as that. It happens to a lot of people. And I would say that I think most people would agree with this, that if you are just building your brand on one platform and one platform only, and you're not trying to build your audience in other places, get people to follow you in other places, go to that email list serve or whatever it is. If you're just purely making it on followers on TikTok, you're kind of an employee for TikTok. You're making, like, sure, you're working for yourself, but you're just there serving TikTok.
I'm going to clap really loud. I've never done that before. I only do a little one, but I love what you just said.
Thank you. But yeah, so I guess that's what I would end it with. And I know you got to get going, so I will stop talking now because I'll just keep talking. But thank you so much, Jerry, for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Had a blast. Thank you, everybody who engaged in the comments. That was super exciting. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Camo and Neon Boutique, who were my first clients. Thank you to my folks. Thank you to my fiance's folks, and family and everything. Jerry, I wouldn't be here on this podcast if it wasn't for you having this podcast. And I wouldn't have had this conversation if it wasn't for you and the policies that you put forth here and the openness that you created. So I genuinely appreciate that.
Well, I don't have a show without people like you. So thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. I look forward to our conversations happening offline continuously in the future.
All right. Well, stick with me for a minute. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. I will see you tomorrow at 2, and we will have Chris Jackson come learn about our new semi-pro league, the Flint Tropics. No, wait, I'm sorry. The Lansing Pharaohs. Sorry, I had to make that joke because, Ron Burgundy's running for mayor of Lansing. I don't know if you know that or not.
Is he really?
But it's a big farce.
Yeah.
And someone secretly did this, that Ron Burgundy for mayor for Lansing, and then they pulled a pledge into it, and all donations are coming to the pledge, and I have no idea who these people are. Oh. So everyone's blaming me for it, but it definitely isn't me. And that's like funny. Don just said, stay classy, Lansing.
Stay classy, so, yes.
All right. Love y'all. See you tomorrow at 2. Thank you so much, John. Stick with me for 1.